Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be covering my thoughts on episode 421, Mother, so if you haven't seen the episode and wish to avoid spoilers, I recommend that you don't watch this, but if you have seen the episode and would like to hear my opinions, thank you very much, and here we go. So as I was watching the episode I was taking notes as it went along, so I'm going to be working from the notes that I was taking. I'm going to try and do this in a linear way, so I talk about the moments as they happened in the episode, but that might not always happen. So the first thing I noticed in the episode was Regina's outfit, the Evil Queen's outfit even. I'm always really impressed by just how stunning the Evil Queen's dresses are, and they're beautiful, and I think the costume design team do really well on that front. The fact that this episode was it was the anniversary of Daniel's death in the Enchanted Forest. I hadn't realised just how much that was still a little raw with me. The Stable Boy was always one of my favourite episodes in the first season, and Daniel's death was rather tragic for me. I think a lot of people would agree. So yeah, returning to that was emotional. One thing I'd hoped that we'd have got to see with a return to young-ish Regina, as it were, would be the relationship between her mother and father, because as of this episode, Cora admitted that she had married into a loveless marriage, but at this point it's very clear that the relationship is well and truly over, and I want to really see what happened between the miller's daughter and to the stable boy to this episode, just to see the progression between the stages of their relationship. I hope it's something we get to see very soon. Moving on anyway, the next scene was between Regina and Robin, who are in the bar, which might have been the bar that Emma and Neil had been to when they met up for the first time in however many years it was. Robin makes reference to how messy the situation is. I think messy is a bit of an understatement in terms of this. I mean, I'm with a lot of people. I'm not on board with this idea that Zelena has been Marion for this whole time. I mean, like a lot of people as well, I saw it coming. I just hoped that it wasn't going to go down that route. So I think it's a bit of a shame that it did. And a lot of the damage has been done in terms of that, I think, between Regina and Robin's relationship, and considering that at the end of season 3, before Zelena was killed, it did look like we were going to get some form of growth in their relationship, Zelena and Regina's relationship, and it's a real shame that she did die and we didn't really get to explore that a bit more. Yeah, and this season I had a lot of, I guess you could say, I had time for Zelena last season. I think she was an okay villain, as villains go, and her story, I had time for her story, which I felt was underdeveloped as well. But now I'm just, she can stay in the asylum, which, speaking of the asylum, I'm very happy we did get to see that again, because I love the small little references to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's one of my favourite novels and one of my favourite films as well, so I enjoy seeing those moments. In the diner, we have Hook, Rumpel, and the author. I think it's just a little bit silly to threaten Rumpel in front of the author, because he doesn't have the best reputation. He's devious. I don't know. I spent a lot of time yelling at the screen about the author, with Regina and the author, with the end scene where I think we all knew that he was still teamed up with Rumpel and that he was waiting somewhere for that moment. So I just don't trust the author, and I just think it's silly to threaten Rumpel, anyone to threaten Rumpel in front of him. It's only going to come back to bite them. The author makes reference to when they're discussing the ink and the fact that they had relied on Emma going dark to get what they wanted, that there was a loophole in the situation. Of course there's a loophole. This is Once Upon a Time after all. Then we had, I've got more notes about Cora here, me yelling at the screen about Cora and the Sheriff of Nottingham debacle. That was a sad moment for me, just seeing Regina and her walls come down a little bit, only to realise that no, this wasn't right, and to make that discovery, and everything that came of that was just really heartbreaking in a way, to see her drink the potion that put to rest any of my hopes for her maybe in future to have a baby. I don't know, but she has Henry, as she rightly said at the end of it. She doesn't need to have a child with Robin, she already has a child. So there was that. I liked the whole conversation between Regina and Zelena towards the end of the episode, and how they are defining, how Regina is defining her happiness, and that she's realising that she is the one in the way of her own happiness. I thought that was a good touch. Other things in the episode, I am so pleased that Maleficent and Lily had a happy reunion, as it were. I like that Maleficent appears to be on the path, her own little path to redemption. I have a lot of time for Maleficent, so that makes me happy. I also think the setup for the heroes and villains finale episode, I've seen the promo. I don't want to go too far into this one because I know there are people that don't watch the promos. They like to go into the episode blind and just enjoy it. I'm apprehensive in a way about the concept. I think it's just a problematic concept. It's something that Rumpel has kind of gone after for as long as I can remember, but it's a short-sighted thing, I think. But in a way, I'm also excited to see how it plays out, and seeing everyone just in different roles. Overall, I think Mother was one of the better episodes that we've had this season. We've got a lot to cover in a finale episode. I think this season we've had many things introduced that haven't quite been resolved yet, and considering how the next episode could go, I don't think we're going to have those questions answered. I think they're going to flow over into the next season, season 5. And if this goes a similar way to how previous seasons have gone. They've, in a sort of hurried way or not, they've attempted to answer these questions that have been raised in a finale episode. So going on previous experience, I guess that's perhaps what they're going to attempt to do with the next one. However, I'm always keen to see a story spill over. I want to see questions that aren't answered that we can come back to in season 5, so we don't have an entirely new story straight off the back. I like the idea that this could just continue into the next season. I'd be quite happy. So it'll be interesting to see. So this was sort of a sketchy overview of the episode. I hope to do a more detailed one for the next episode. By that time I'll have finished my last piece of university work, so I'll be able to give it more time and a bit more concentration than I have on this week's episode. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to do this again next week for the finale.